guys, so welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel and you want to see more content on this car, then don't forget to like and subscribe down below. First of all, what we're going to be doing on this car is fixing the exhaust manifold on it because it's got a little bit of a leak there. So what we're going to do is take the old one off, have a little look around, check everything's okay, and then hopefully put the new one on, and that should solve the issue. We should be taking out for test drive to check everything's 100% on it. Let's crack on. To get the manifold, obviously I've got to take quite a few bits off to actually get there. First of all, what I've got to actually take off is stuff like the boost pipes, the oil catch can, of course, the mass airflow meter with all the induction pipe and the air filter to actually be able to get to the turbo a lot easier. And then obviously stuff to do with the boost controller has all got to come off. It's really tricky to actually get around the back of it because a lot of the bolts are in really awkward tight places. You can't really get in there too easily, and I'm trying to take as much as I possibly can off from the top of the car without actually having to get underneath the car. And to actually try and get the water lines off the car, which are hard lines, are really tricky to get to the back of them. You could just about fit a 24mm spanner and a ratchet behind there, but it's really getting the leverage and the right angle to actually get it off, which seems near enough impossible. So I've got probably 90% of the bolts off by now, and now it's just fiddling around trying to get those bolts off, and you can see I'm really struggling just trying to get those last few bolts off the back of it. So that's pretty much it from up here. What we're going to have to do now is jack the car up, get underneath the car to try and get one of the water lines off, because from here I can't get to it basically. There's a couple of studs on the back of the turbo to the manifold, which I can't get to from here. So I'm going to have to go underneath the car as well to do them. It's the way it is. So of course now we've got to jack the car up in the air to actually be able to get to these bolts, and they're an absolute pain in the arse to get to. You're probably wondering where I am. I'm underneath the car, basically dying because these are such a pain to get out. But in the end we've got them out, so it's all worth it. So now all of that's done, we can crack on up here and hopefully take everything off easily now. Of course now I've got the bolts cracked off underneath, everything's nice and loose, so now all I've got to do is undo all of the bolts and try and wiggle them away with the turbo around all of those hard lines, the oil and coolant feed to the turbo. But in the end I'm trying to get them out of the way, pull them off and get them clear so I can just drop that turbo down and take that manifold off easily without too much drama and hassle. So we've literally just dropped the turbo down and we've noticed that there's a massive crack on the manifold, and we'll show you that now. All of this turbo off now, dropped it down, and we just noticed down here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little crack, well, a massive crack there, and that's probably what all of that's from. You can't really see it until you drop this down because that's in the way. But at least now we know what the issue is and what we need to do to solve it. So what we're going to do, either we'll get another one or we'll get that one welded up and put it back on the car. But until then, we're just going to have to take this off. We're literally just going to take the manifold off, get a new one, put the new gasket on, put everything back together, and hopefully nothing bad goes wrong there again. Fingers crossed. So then let's get this thing off. At least now we know what the issue is and what we've got to do to solve it. So all I've got to try and do now then is try and get all of these bolts off left on the manifold, and then I should be able to pull the manifold out with a bit of ease, maybe a bit of persuasion. But basically, you're probably wondering how on earth is the manifold cracked. To be honest, I don't know, but maybe it's because there isn't any flex in the exhaust system at all, but that's the way it is from factory. And it's usually the aftermarket manifolds that crack before the standard ones. So what I'm going to do, probably just get another standard manifold and hope that that holds up. And if it doesn't, then we can always just get this one welded up again and swap them over. The one random 17mm bolt, as you do. Let's give it a tug then, pull it off. It's not quite that simple. Jeez Louise. As you can see, it's actually a little bit stiff, but what I've got to do, go and grab a hammer, give it a few knocks, give it a wiggle, and then it eventually comes out. Take a look at that there. That's knackered. So what we're probably going to do now is probably going to have to get a new one of them instead of welding that one up, because that's too far gone. So there's a gasket. It looks like it's doing its job for the most part, but to be honest, I think I'd rather put that new one on anyway. And just to top everything else off, it's just started raining, which is lovely. It's English summertime for you. Right, so then now we've finally figured the issue out and we've got all of that off, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to source another manifold, and then we've got another manifold. We'll put that on with a new gasket, put it on here, hopefully it doesn't crack again. So today's the day, new manifold, well, second hand, new to me manifold has finally arrived. Can't wait to get on with this, get everything finished and take out for a blast. Got some other braided lines for the car, got 2 oil feeds. I need to decide which one. One's more like from the top, and then the other one's just a standard sort of fitting. And then obviously we have the new gasket which we're going to put on here, and the most essential fluids in the world to get this job done. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put all the braided lines back in ready, and then we're going to whack the manifold gasket back on. So I can't actually really get to that right now, so what I'm having to do is I'm going to have to take this turbo out just to get this pain in the arse out of there. So it is the only way we're going to really get it out, because it's proper stuck behind that. I can't get the grinder down at the right angle to get to it. Off it fucks. So that's the worst of them, they're all in now, thank God for that. Finally, time to unwrap this, mock it up, see what it's about. Maybe I'm going to have to remove these rivets, we'll see how it fits up, but I can see them possibly damaging or tapping into the head, so I'll just pinch them out, something like that, if they're an issue. Right, so then they don't look like they're really going to fit anywhere, they look like they're going to push into that head or something, so I'm just going to pinch them out with a pair of pliers to avoid any complications. Sweet, so all of them are out now, and it seems to sit flush, doesn't protrude anything, so let's get that turbo back on there, and then the manifold. But we have a little bit of an issue in there. 2 of the fucking teeth are missing. There's chips off that. That's fucked if you ask me. I'm not really going to want to risk taking that out. So what we're going to do now is put the bigger turbo on it, get some bigger injectors on it and get it mapped. So that's all something that we'll probably leave for next time. And then we'll do that on the next video. So then guys, obviously after seeing that turbo, it's absolutely knackered. It looks like it's about to blow up. So to be honest, I don't really want to put it back on this car, even just to take it for a little drive, because it's not really worth running the risk. So basically, what I'm going to do next time is we're going to be putting a bigger turbo on the car, and then we'll hopefully get it all mapped up properly, sorted out, and that sort of thing. So if you've been watching up to here and you wanted just to see what it was like driving it, I'm really sorry about that, but we will definitely cover it. And if you do want to see it, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this, and we'll cover it in the near future. But ideally next time we'll be putting the bigger turbo on the car, getting the car mapped up right, and then definitely doing some footage on what it's actually like driving this car. So thank you again guys for watching. I'll catch you next time.